Welcome to Garden Valley Church Podcasts. We are so looking forward to having you join us today.
Welcome to Wow, Look at Us Now podcast. I'm your host, Rochelle Oneslager.
And I'm Michael Oneslager. You guys know who it is, and if you don't know, now you know.
Okay. That was kind of good.
Yeah, I told you.
You just kind of went off on on that.
I kind of winged it.
Okay, first, shout out before we start. M-Dog over here is now Officer Oneslager.
Not yet.
No, you are.
Technically not yet.
Well,
I haven't been sworn in yet, but okay. I got the job, and in 2 weeks... We don't need to say
where, but...
And in 2 weeks, I will...
Well, you got the job. You got an offered position. You got the job.
Yeah.
They told you, you better put your 2 weeks in today because you coming.
Yeah.
So, I mean, now you got a ride or die and a BFF ride-along rider for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Bring your wife to work today.
Yeah.
Yeah. You excited or what?
I'm stoked. It still hasn't set in yet. It was like when he gave me the call and he told me, I was just like...
You're going to definitely not want me to go with you. I can already feel it. You're gonna be like, Rochelle, stop.
I'll want it when I'm like established. I'll want it when I'm established.
Because you know how I am, because I have to take charge. I mean, not of your real job, like not actually, but let me drive.
I don't want you being like, no, we're gonna do this. I'm like, no, this isn't our house. You can't tell me what to do. This is my job. That's my fear.
I wouldn't do that.
You need to arrest that guy. I'm like, no.
No, you're just making stuff up. Yeah, I would definitely, as a joke, maybe say that to you.
Yeah, I know.
But not for real. I'm not like that dumb. A little bit, but not that bad. Like, I like to have a good time for sure. But
I want to see something.
Okay.
It won't let me scroll when you're scrolling.
This is a podcast too, and you're like, let me see something, and there's like no talking. And they don't understand what we're doing not unless they see the video.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. Anyways.
We're talking about parenting and blended families. If that wasn't family dynamic for you, I don't know what is. Anyways. Okay.
If you like this podcast, drop a link in the bio. What did you say?
What? No, that doesn't even make sense.
No. What were you saying that one time though?
Oh, it's drop a like. Or subscribe, or there's a link in the bio for like merchandise and stuff. Yeah,
that's so funny. We should just make that up. And
you're like,
there's not actually gonna be anything like that. We're like this video. You want to mess with them a little bit? I kind of do.
No.
Okay. So back to parenting and blended families.
Yeah.
Because we're parents.
This is why we have Sean set the timer for 40 minutes and not 30. Because we add in all of our extra little things.
Well, duh. You gotta have time for play around. I mean, I don't want to be serious all the time.
Yeah.
There's a time for serious and there's a time for play.
True.
True that.
Okay. Start off with a short story of what our family dynamic is and past experience.
I just read off the notes.
Because
you're exposing us all over right now. I can't even handle this.
So start it off. Start it off with a short story.
Okay. So, let's see. Our family dynamic. Okay, I'll say I used to be, in my past marriage, I was a step parent. So I do have experience in this area. But now, in this marriage, I'm not a step parent.
And I've never been married before, so... This marriage.
Okay, well, rub that in my face, but whatever. Anyways.
No, well,
I was joking.
I did come from a family who got married, got divorced, got remarried, got divorced again, and then I've had stepmoms. So I kind of I've seen all different sides. I've seen everything. The only thing I haven't gotten to see is like having my own child.
We got together, and I have a child.
Yep. Well, we have a child.
Okay, now. Yeah, but like.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you can't physically have a child either. But I was like, no, I physically had him, but like obviously, but I did like.
Yeah.
Blood.
Yeah, he is your by blood, your biological son. He is my stepson.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at right now.
So stepdaddy over here.
Yeah. But my entire life, like for what was it, 12 years of my life. It was just, I was an only child. It was my parents. And then.
And now you're in a relationship that there's another kid that's the only child. Well, I mean, in our home. He
has some brothers and sisters at a different house.
Yeah. So.
That's how we're blended. How we're a blended family.
How has that been? How has it been? Has it been easy for you?
No. No.
Really?
Well, okay.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, because I would say
it's been, as far as the child himself goes, it has been easy.
Yeah, because he's amazing.
He's a great kid. As far as
he's my
figuring out the dynamic of how our relationship works, that's been the difficult part, because it's not like, I mean, yeah, I was there when he was like, I wasn't actually at the hospital, but I've been around since he's been born.
I was in the hospital room when he was born.
No.
Now this is my wife. Just kidding. What?
Anyways,
we're gonna make this real sticky and messy.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So I've been around since he was born. So it's not like he doesn't know who I am, but he didn't view me as a father. So it's it's one of those things where
Michael did family dynamic pause right here.
Yeah.
Michael did grow up with me. So he was around like since he was, I think 4. You were 4 years old.
Yeah.
Well, I knew you before that, but
yeah,
we didn't move here until you were 4 and like start like you weren't around us for a while.
Yeah.
But so like he's been around for all throughout life. So he's been around Braxton since he's literally been born, because he was just like all throughout.
Yeah,
and
I was at the fireworks tent when you came. I was at the fireworks tent when you brought him like a couple days later.
Well, I had him and I had to stay in almost a week in the hospital. It was like 5 days. And then we literally like left from the hospital, went home for like a short time, and then went straight to the.
So I seen him when he was like fresh out the womb. Straight out of the womb.
Yeah. So Michael did grow up around Braxton and
then he was in my daycare class when I was a teacher's aide at the school.
Yeah.
So I had him in my.
We don't tell people that.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I don't care. Michael was also a daycare aide.
Yeah.
So he took care of kids. He loves them, I guess, so much so that he doesn't want anymore. But he like kind of like was always around Braxton. I think that's so kind of crazy but funny.
We already had a great
not
relationship.
Like that with us though. But us, you and me, it was definitely not like that. It was kind of like you were my brother, to be honest. Like I did not see you that way. We stopped.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
It was literally like how I felt about you was a family relationship.
But
there's not one thing that I thought otherwise.
Yeah.
Until like obviously like the last couple of years.
His whole like childhood, like he was my little buddy kind of thing.
Yeah,
like,
I like how you guys actually have pictures together when you look like you're 12 and
like we have little pictures, and then like he
was a kid,
and that's it's funny because
and he loved you. He like loved Michael.
Yeah. And it's funny because he's the one that actually kind of brought us together, because it was his birthday party.
Oh yeah.
That you're like, Braxton would love to see Michael at his birthday party.
Yeah. Even though I didn't like you too much. I mean, okay, I didn't really have a problem, but I was just kind of like.
Yeah, the drama and the family drama and stuff like that. Anyways, he's kind of what brought us like the whole re-encounter of us talking and stuff. But no, as far as going back to navigating like how hard it is for us, it's seeing him in that, or him seeing me in that light, for the longest time, and then within a year I'm his stepdad. It was hard, and it still is hard sometimes navigating like as far as what a father does, in the house.
It's also hard to have because there's like certain boundaries. A transition. There's certain boundaries that you feel like you need to have. And then there's also certain roles. Yeah, because it's like they have a different.
Yeah, and there's things like there's so much like on my plate. I feel in that area where I think about it all the time. I think about him every single day, and I think about, because we have similar stories growing up as kids, in the sense of family, and the family dynamic. We've both been through 2+ divorces as a kid. We've both dealt with things between parents, and every single day I think about how can I help impact or change his life to where he doesn't have to experience or go through some of the things that I went through.
Yeah.
and it's hard because I'm trying to see where I fit in his world as far as relationship goes. Because we have a great relationship. And I don't really have to do a whole lot of punishing. I don't have to, like, I have to talk to him. But
That's really like all you have to
that's
do
all
with
I
him.
really
It's
have
like,
to do. I don't have to raise my voice. I explain things to him. And I am
his
firm.
feeling, he's so sensitive though that all you
Yeah.
have to say is no to him.
I-
And he's like, "Mm."
Yeah, and I am firm with him. But man, like from the first time I flew out to South Carolina to see you, and the first thing out of this kid's mouth when I run to the beach with him is, "Are you going to date my mom?" Like straight up, 8 years old, hits me with this adult question, like, "Are you going to date my mom?" I'm like, oh. And we legit are walking the beach while all you guys are back sitting underneath the umbrellas and stuff. We are having a whole conversation about how it's not just about dating you. It was how he's also a blessing in this. It's like I'm not doing it just to get to his mom. I'm receiving him as well as part of the gift. And we've had adult conversations, and I see so much of myself in him, even though he's not my blood. There's so much that we have in similarities that it cracks me up. It makes me laugh so much
It does crack me up too.
because I'm like, God, you're so crazy. You're so cool that like this little boy that you created and
fits in your
fits
life,
into my
and
life.
It
And
seems like he really is your son.
yeah. Yeah, and I'm not here to take the place of his real father. We've had conversations about that as well. I want him to have a great relationship with his father, and we talk about there's a lot we'd go into depth of that too. But it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy navigating, especially in the very beginning, because he's a kid and he's trying to figure out how I fit into his life, how he fits into my life. But I think the more you care and the more you want to just dive into it together, like the easier it is, and the easier it gets. And of course, God helps along the way. But I would say that's super, super hard on my heart, or heavy on my heart. Just about every single day is like, okay, how is?
But what if the child doesn't want a relationship with you? What if he didn't want it? Braxton makes it real easy to where it's like clearly he wants.
Well,
a
there's
relationship, he loves
also
you,
times there's been times with him where, he's had life going on. He's had a lot of stuff going on in his life, and there'd be flare-ups between him and I to where it's like in that moment you can tell he's like, I really just don't want to deal with this right now. Like it's because it takes work for a relationship. He's never done anything mean or said anything mean like that, but you can tell like in that moment he's like this.
He just wants to be a kid.
Yeah, he just wants to be a kid.
He doesn't want to do any of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but say for someone else though, say the kid that they're dealing with.
Well, that's what I'm getting to is in those moments I just position myself to be like, you know what? I have to just do the best I can as a father. I signed up to be a father. I signed up. Like I knew what was happening when I said I do. It wasn't just to you, it was to him as well. And I made a promise that I'm still going to be there even if he doesn't want me.
Yeah.
Even if he doesn't want me to be there. I can only go so far, and I'm only going to do so
you
much.
don't have to force so much.
Yeah.
Because when you start forcing a relationship,
That's when they want to push away. But if I just every single day, if I'm like, I'm here. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to fight for my love. You don't have to fight to be. It's the same thing how God is.
Yeah.
Like it's legit how God is with us. He's like, I love you. I'm here for you. I just want to have a relationship with you.
You just be
But
you,
the
and
next
I accept you.
the next step is on you. You get to decide. You get to decide how far you want that relationship to go. Because he's a gentleman, and that's how I have to take it with Braxton. I have to be a gentleman and allow him to come to me. Like, yeah, I come to him the minute he says, "Hey, I need your help," or "Hey, I do want something." I'm there, and I can just be there every single day saying, "I'm here for you. I love you, no matter what." But then he has to want that. So if he doesn't want it, then like, let's say even if it's on a day-to-day basis, it's like, okay, I'm here. I love you, no matter what. Like, I'm here.
Yeah, and he knows that you're here, though.
Yeah.
You're a safe person to be with. So what's one thing you would really want out of being a step-parent?
I think just in general, as a parent, this is the biggest thing I want as a parent, not even a step parent. You don't have to be a certain way, or like, obviously, I want him to be a good man.
Respectful,
Yeah, I want him to be respectful and be a great man, but I don't want him to feel like he has to earn my love.
Yeah.
That
It's like
just like our relationship with God, and how we were talking about religion versus relationship. I want him to understand that all I care about is a relationship.
Yeah.
I don't need him to be a certain way. I don't need him to, like, we joke about him because he's insanely gifted athletically. We always joke about him being like, an MLB player or NFL player, and him taking care of us and stuff like that.
Maybe he might be able to get it.
But my thing is like, I always tell him, I'm like, I really don't care if you blow out your shoulder, or you end up not doing it, or you end up hating it and you decide to drive a garbage truck for the rest of your life.
I'm pretty sure they make good money, so I'd be
they make great money. But no matter what, it's not performance based, and how I view him isn't going to change. I would say that's my biggest thing for him is
you're proud of him no matter what.
No matter what. And who his character is more of. Like, his character is really great. Like, obviously we have talks about stuff.
He's kind of perfect. I can't lie.
He really is. Well, it's one of those things, really, like, you and I, like, before, when we got married, obviously I liked our alone time, when he would be gone or whatever. And I did like our alone time. But, like,
after, like, a day
now that
two,
his and I's relationship, like, has grown so much even more now, it's like, after, like, day 2, I'm like, I freaking miss that guy. Like, I'm ready for him to be home. And I went from not being a parent at all to instant dad. For a while there, like, when you were working at the gym, I would wake up early, come to the apartment while you left, and I would take care of him and stuff. But, it was kind of still, learning and getting to know each other. But it's like instant dad. And so all of these responsibilities and all of this, which it's not a lot of responsibility necessarily, but all of these things, all this different dynamics, all just at once. And I'm having to learn how to fix the plane while flying it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But he just he does make it easy. Like, I don't have to.
Which also, too, like, advice as parent, and I'm not even close to a perfect parent. It's just, he's just sometimes simple, sometimes he's hard. But I think it's a huge stepping stone for parents to have their children take the free love languages quiz online. And I think it's like the 5 love languages quiz test.com. Or I don't know what it is, but even if you go to that website, you'll find it. And
have your kids do it, yeah.
And Braxton, at the time when I had him do it, I knew he wouldn't do it himself. He's better if you, like, read off yourself and, like, explain it to him, and then he knows, like, how to answer it. Because there's kids ones and there are teen ones, and I actually had Braxton do a teen one because he could understand that more than he could understand the kids.
Weird.
It's so weird.
He was like me as a kid, like, more mature and understands things a lot quicker.
Yeah, so I read off that one to him, and he knew how to, like, say, like, what means more to you, and then you find out what their love language is and how they receive love. Because me growing up, I'll give an example. Me growing up, I thought my mom didn't love me as much as my dad, because my dad would he would play with me, he would spend time with me. When I was sick, he would be the one to, like,
nurture you.
Yeah, well, like, physically, though. Like, he would be, like, put his hand on my forehead and, like, move my hair to the side. He would be like that, like, hugging, that kind of stuff. Obviously, my love languages are, and how I receive love is physical touch and quality time. Well, that's what he did. And so my mom would be like, she would do everything she could, though, like how she worked different. I still had to stay home more with my dad because he was a pastor, and, like,
she's a huge gift giver and words of affirmation person. She will build you up with words, and she will give tons of gifts.
Yeah, that's her, but that's how she receives love. So that's why she would do that, is because she would give gifts, or, like, when you're sick, she would be the one to get you soup and give you and, like, get you stuff like that. Like, that's just how she is. Like, I'm gonna be there, anything, like, material, whatever it is, like, needs, I'll be there. Which I knew that she loved me, but I just grew up thinking that she didn't love me. But I was older and took the love languages quiz and started really recognizing what my love languages were. I was like, wow. I was like, my mom truly does love me.
Yeah.
I just wasn't receiving it in how she gives it, and she wasn't doing it on how I receive. So I think that's a huge step. So I did Braxton's, of course. This is quality time and physical touch like mine. I'm like, oh, that's gonna be easy. That's how I like to give it too, because that's just how. So it's just
His are
small
just like
gestures
his 2 and 3 are a little bit different than yours and mine.
Oh, and he likes giving gifts or gift giving or
Yeah.
whatever. He likes giving gifts, but he's also, it could be because of his age.
Yeah.
As a kid,
Yeah.
getting gifts.
You love it.
He loves it. Yeah, you love it. So, I mean, it always changes later on, but I think that's helped a lot in our relationship, knowing that, like, he really loves, like, physical touch and quality time. So we try a lot as a family to spend quality time together, because I know that's, like, how he receives it, and it's so true. It's
And
like, it fills his love tank.
It is different too, because like
It's all of us. We all love quality time.
But
so we're
it's
those
funny
type of
because
people.
ours is all different too. Because like my physical touch, physical touch is one
yeah.
of my big ones. But it's only like with you. Like if anyone else really like, I'm like, no, like I don't want physical touch,
Me too.
So
I am exactly like that too. It's really only a person I'm in a relationship
and I have to learn to give and take, because like there's times where Braxton, and this is kind of considered quality time too, but Braxton loves us laying on the bed and putting him to sleep like that, and just chilling there with him and hanging out as he like goes to sleep. He loves that. And
or just because it's like family time. So
Yeah,
like
it's
us as
family time.
So if we literally just lay on the bed and he like sits there or lays there when we wait till he sleeps.
And
then...
for me, I'm like crammed in this little bed, and that like I eventually like ease into it, and then I'm like, okay, cool, this is fine, But for a while, I had to learn to, no, it's okay, Michael. Like, this is there's a purpose to this. It's feeling, and like Braxton, like seeing his face light up now when
so
after we
funny.
get done praying at night, he like scoots over to the edge of the bed and like pats the bed, and he's like, "You lay down," and he's like super stoked about it.
Big smile. Or no,
Oh,
what he
man.
does is when we first did that, and because I used to do that with him before he came, like. It'd be random one time, especially when times I knew he was like gonna go over to his dad's and stuff, because I miss him so much, and I'm like, I'm such a needy mom. It makes me so sad. But I just want to like make sure like he knows he's loved, and like I'm always here and stuff. And so I would just randomly do that just for him to fall asleep, and he loves it. It's just like a good thing for him. And so then I would like leave, and I didn't do it all the time. It's like a treat kind of thing. Like this is like a different kind of thing. And so then when you did it that one time, because I was already gonna do it, and you're just like, oh, whatever, like, and you did it, and his face was like, like it got so big.
He's like,
his smile got so big, and I was like, oh, that makes my mom heart happy. I love that kind of stuff. That's actually what I love the most.
okay, so for you were a stepmom at one point, but I guess you can answer this question too, even with Braxton. So, I'm going to twist this question a little bit different. I'll come back to that one. But it says, how do you navigate building a relationship with a child that didn't really want you? But I want to know, even if they did want you, how did you navigate when they were hesitant about getting close to you?
Oh, I definitely was in that. You mean when I was a step parent?
Yeah, like how did you build a safe place that made that child or those children?
By being consistent and being vulnerable with them, like sharing my struggles and being honest about stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as you can for
a child.
a child,
they can't
or like age
comprehend
appropriate.
everything. Yeah.
But yeah, just really talking to them, like getting to know who they are, and like doing like small things. Like, I guess I didn't know all their love languages. I mean, I could figure out a little bit, but that was something that I knew, like, as a parent, what would have helped me is because, like, how I grew up is we didn't talk about stuff a lot.
Yeah.
And it's not against my parents. Like, they just knew that.
They were trying to protect you.
Yeah, they're trying to protect me. And they also kind of, like, the way the era was back then, it was kind of like, you protect your kids, like, you don't let them know stuff that's like too much for them. It's you just keep it from them. I don't know how to explain it. Like,
You
kind
hide
of
it
just
from
like,
them,
you
yeah.
kind of hide it from them, which I think did actually a lot of damage to me. I mean, obviously I turned out great, but I think it definitely didn't help me when I got into life on my own, like the real world. Like had no idea. And so I wish I was talked to more. So as a parent, knowing like how, I mean, that's what everyone does when you grow up. There's things that you think were great about your childhood and things that you don't think that were great. And so then you can either see and say that's what I want to be or that's not what I want to be.
Yeah.
Or however, vice versa. But mine was just talking like a lot about like real struggles and like encounters that I had with God, like sharing the gospel with them, even if they didn't want to hear it. Like I remember like literally being so annoyed at my dad all the time growing up because all he said that came out of his mouth was something like, "Well, God," and I'm like, that's not what I want to hear right now. Like that's literally the last thing that I want to hear right now. And it, in a way, maybe I thought that it was like pushing me away from him, and like, but some of it stuck with me as I like grow up, and I like really remember like little things that he said because I just remember when like he just was like, that's a little bit of a pushover. Like people kind of walk over him because he's so kind and nice, and I'm just not that way. Like I'm not a pushover. I mean, I'm quick to forgive and like give you another shot, another chance, clearly from what my life has been like. But in the same time, it didn't. I hated watching him do that. I'm like, you need to eventually like stand up for yourself. And okay, I don't know why I'm getting on this subject now because now I'm getting. But either way, it was just like that. And so I just remember being like, no, you're gonna talk about all the encounters and
create an environment for them to draw
Yeah.
closer to you.
yeah, and not even saying like that was like my actual intentions. It was just like a genuine time that I had with them, and I tried to get to know them. Like
And it just
just
fell
saying
into
like
place that
yeah,
way.
and it just kind of happened. Like honestly, I think it was a God thing. Like like not everything was perfect, and it was definitely hard being a step parent. Actually, it was probably the hardest thing I had to do. It was such a crazy position to be in because you don't know, you never want to overstep with the other parent. I mean, obviously, there's some step parents that don't care and they want to go and pretend, like that. That's what it's like.
Yeah.
I don't like, obviously, but I just know it's hard to know your spot and know your place. I get it. Like I understand, but there's also parts that I think that there's certain boundaries that the parents need to put in place to know like this is where you're at, this is where you're not at, because it puts too many
Especially
people,
if
it's too many hands in the pot that it creates more problems.
I think it would be different if, like, let's say for Brax and I example, let's say his dad actually wasn't in the picture. I think it would be different. And
if his dad wasn't in the picture,
then I think there'd be certain areas where it's like it's different. But since his dad is present in his life and he does have a say and there is co-parenting, it's like, okay, now there's too many hands. Like if it was just like from the time he was young or whatever, if it's just you and me, like I think there would be a different dynamic. But that's where that's what's hard being a step parent is hard, and you have to figure out where you fit and at what level.
And it might be different in every family though. Just because we do it this way doesn't mean that. But it's like what's healthy for your family, what's the best for both each family.
And you kind of have to not read the room, but you have to read the kid and see, okay, is this doing more damage right now? And is this more than he can handle right now at this capacity? Or do I need to step it up? Or do I need to draw it back? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
What is your parenting style like? And what is one thing you'd like to change or do different as a parent?
My parenting style, kind of...
All kids are different, so you kind of have to
Yeah.
bring a different game, but
It's kind of like how I said, like, I'm going to talk to him about everything as much as I can, and be real with him. But it's kind of like, there's part of me that really wants him to be like independent, like, because I really wasn't growing up. And so I make him have to try to do the things. I have to get him out of like his comfort zone. I try to do that because I know it grows him, because it grew me. And in some similar ways, we are similar, me and Braxton, but we also are different. But I don't know how to say my parenting style. I'm going to say I'm consistent. That's what it is. Whether like we had an example, whether it sucks, but when you say this is what we're gonna do, and if you keep doing that, like I'm gonna stick to my word. That's what kind of parenting style I am. As much as I can be, I'm gonna stay consistent and like so he knows how I'm gonna react.
Yeah.
He knows what's gonna he knows what's coming because he really thrives in routine and what's coming next. And as long as and sometimes you can't always tell him last minute things like, oh, the plan changed, blah blah blah. He doesn't do good with change, but staying consistent in a routine or constantly trying to be a stability, I guess, for him, because his life can be crazy and it wasn't stable for a long time, back and forth, and it still is really hard with certain things, but I try to stay as consistent as possible. And then like him knowing that like what I say is what I mean. Like I'm going to stick to that because how like consequences when we said if you don't stop, like this is your last time. If you don't stop, we're not going to do this. And of course he's like, he's going to push the button sometimes. And so he still does it. And we're like, okay, we're not doing it now. Yeah. So now all of us get to miss out on this because you did that. Like, and we told you. And so now we're really going to have to do the hard thing. Even though it was a fun thing, we had to all.
And we missed out on it.
Yeah. And so I think he knew, like, he starts knowing, like, oh, my mom's so dead serious. Like, I don't mess with her that much. Yeah. Like, he knows when all I have to do, sometimes I don't have to say anything. I just look at him, and he knows the mom look, and he instantly is like, yep, not going to mess with her. And I don't even know why, because I don't even, like...
But it's because you're consistent, so he knows, like...
Yeah, I'm going to stick to my word. You're going to honor your word. And there's going to be consequences. Yeah. So, like, when he knows he gets, like, caught, like, keeping his... electronics technology in his room... He doesn't even do it. He just, like, has it at night and just goes and puts it in my room because he just knows, like, we're not going to do that. But, yeah. What's one thing that
you would like to change or do different?
I don't know.
Or, I guess, be better at. If there's somewhere in your life as a parent that you feel like you want to be.
I feel like maybe... No, I feel like sometimes I do actually a really good job. It just depends. Yeah. I do a really good job at like building him up.
Yeah, everybody has their moments.
I have moments of that, but maybe just giving him grace as a child, like being a child. That's like not expecting.
I was gonna say like
perfect.
Like, I answered this question myself, and I am the same way.
Oh really? Like I just want to like be like, it's okay for you to have a hard day. It's okay for you to throw a fit or something. I mean, it's not an excuse, but like it's okay because we have hard days. We act out. We have moments. Like, so why can't a kid do that? Like that's what kids are gonna do. We can't expect them to be this image type. Like this is what you do.
Because my thing is like I'm not really hard on him. I hold him accountable for, his age and, certain things. But there is times where I'm like, okay, Mike, like, he's legit having a rough day. He's a kid. Like, let it roll off. Like, that comment, it's whatever. Like, yeah, he's giving you some back talk. But he's
also an only kid with us, so he's gonna pick out one person. So it's usually with you.
And there's times where like I stand my ground more, and I'm like done. Like I am done. Like we're not doing this. But then there's times where I'm like, okay, you got to think about it. Like he just came back from his dad's. Like he's transitioning. Like he just got out of school. Like
it takes him a couple days.
Change is hard for him.
Click back in.
Yeah, change is hard for him. So I kind of like you kind of have to. I have to evaluate things sometimes. Yeah. Just be like whatever.
And just giving him more grace. Like I'm like okay. I understand where you're coming from as a kid. I mean, I wasn't perfect. I had my moments. You have to push the boundaries sometimes. I get it.
What is your favorite thing to do as a family?
Well, vacations. I'm just kidding. Well, kind of, but not really. I don't know. Just like the everyday, like genuine moments. Yeah. Like when we feel like we don't have to try, we're just having a good time. Like even if it's like on a drive or if we're just going to throw a baseball around, a football, like whatever it is, literally just like a family walk. I actually really enjoy that kind of stuff is like as a family when we do things that are healthy together to like, like if it's just a family walk. So first, it's getting your body moving and then, or if it's walking to the ice cream shop. So we feel better about it. I don't know. I would just say like small quality moments, like the little things, like really mean the most to me.
I like our
because those are just like the more intimate times. Those are the more getting to know someone and just chill conversation. That's when the most, like, I think the biggest ministry you could have is in a relationship is like doing
I like
just
our
life.
Belly laugh moments.
Your belly laugh
Especially
moments,
like when
yeah.
Braxton says something that's like super, super funny that you're like,
You can't help
like
but
that's way
laugh.
past your age and you got it. Like you nailed it.
Yeah,
Like,
I think we have a lot of inside jokes too as a family because, or like it's mostly like inside jokes with us of things that Braxton has said.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
you're
it's-
gross and you're gross.
Yeah.
Like it's just like a bunch of like stuff.
Well,
that he
just
says
stuff
and
like
does.
that where like in this example, like I was frustrated in the moment, you know? But when I was ticked, you know, and he's like, "You okay, Michael?" Like,
Oh
he
yeah, that
knew-
was so
he instantly
funny.
knew, and we were getting off
He
the
was
exit at
so
Harvard.
serious though.
He
and
was
the
like,
way he said
yeah,
it.
he like
it
he
was
like
funny.
leaned his head in and looked at me. He's like, "You okay, Michael?" And I was
Okay, so it was because you don't normally ever. Well, I mean, you didn't even do anything. It was just your tone of voice of how you said it. It was kind of like how you said it was
Yeah.
like not snobby, but it was similar like that. It was kind of like a snapback at whatever I said,
Yeah.
and it was just like a random weird moment.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even anything that was bad, but he just knew that something was off because you normally don't do that. Like
Yeah.
you don't even talk, like you don't even say that. And so when you did that, and he was in the back, he was like, "You okay, Michael?" Like we all busted up laughing because I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that kid got my back."
yeah.
I love that stuff. Yeah. Oh.
Cool.
Okay. Oh, cool.
That's it.
Cool.
That's it for this episode.
That's it for this episode.
You gonna pray us out?
No, that's your job. You're gonna pray us out, and maybe for parents and families that are struggling, like blended families that are struggling
Oh,
too.
yeah, go ahead. God, we just ask that you help us as parents give more grace and begin to dive in and see where the kid is coming from and the life that they're dealing with right now. Everything seems so big and scary as a child, Lord. Help us to parent the way you parent us and to see things the way you do as a parent. And Lord, any parent right now that's struggling, and any especially step parents, Lord, that are trying to figure out the dynamic as a step parent, show up and begin to guide them and walk them through that process, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you so much for joining us today. If you're interested in checking out more of our podcasts as they come available, please download our app in your device's app store or check us out on your podcast platform at Garden Valley Church. We look forward to seeing you next time.